Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rum on a Couch video number 60. Dave here from Manchester Rum Festival. For this episode, I'm actually going to focus on a brand that I think you all know. We're going to focus on this, a bit of Bacardi. Now, it's surprising that hitting 60 videos, we've never actually spoken or showcased Bacardi before. Not for lack of any particular reason, but what sort of spurred me on, I actually finished some of my Bacardi Casablanca, because I'm not going to lie, it makes a mean rum and coke. Or Cuba Libre, splash of fresh lime in there as well. It's a fantastic, very easy obviously to do at home in this lockdown as well. And I have to admit, I also love a good daiquiri with the Casablanca. It was a highlight on my cocktail menu at Marigot Bay, the bar I used to own in Manchester a couple of years back. And it was a no-brainer. I had to use the Casablanca. It's just been my go-to for years. And weirdly enough, when I finished the bottle last night, I'm thinking, I haven't done this yet. Why have I not used it? Why did I not keep that also, a little bit at least, to do a rum on a couch? So I had a quick look at what else I had on my shelves, and I have got an old school looking bottle of the Bacardi 8. It's now, well, obviously a different label, still the same liquid, but I also have gained myself a bottle of Bacardi, I'm going to say this probably wrong knowing my look, but Aventura, which is the partnership, the very first ever time they collaborated with someone, and that is Revolucion de Cuba. Now, from a Manchester Rum Festival point of view, you guys have been, especially the very first iteration back in 2017, you would know that I hosted Manchester Rum Festival at Revolution de Cuba in, obviously, Manchester itself. So a fantastic little twist of stories there. So, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people have had Bacardi at some point. They've been very, very fortunate to support the Rum Fest over the last couple of years, especially with the music. Obviously, music is a big culture in both Cuba, where obviously Bacardi originates from, and of course also the likes of, obviously, well, to be fair, the Caribbean as an area of the world. Music is such a life force, and very fair play to Bacardi. They've been more than happy to support when it comes to the DJs we've had over the last couple of years at the Rumfest. Now, to give you a bit of context, because I'm going to enjoy, I feel like the Revolution de Cuba bottling first. It's a slightly younger age than, of course, the 8. But I think we need to give a bit of context to what Bacardi is all about while I have a drink of this. So, as we all know, Bacardi's been around since 1862. Specifically, it's actually, I've just got the date here as well. Where are we looking at? February the 4th. So we just missed his birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Bacardi. Don Facundo Bacardi Masso essentially kick-started Bacardi as a brand in Santiago de Cuba. He bought a small distillery and revolutionised, obviously, to be fair, how we perceive rum as a category these days. Bacardi have been there since day one and revolutionised how we perceive it in marketing when it comes to the assets, from billboards to adverts. You may have seen one a couple of years ago that really hammered home its exile, its earthquakes, to its basically its legacy on the impacts of Cuban. Obviously, in the 60s, it got, I wouldn't say kicked out. Well, to be fair, it got kicked out, but it's, let's call it a blessing in disguise. I believe it was October 14th. I may be wrong in that, so I apologise if I am. But I think it was October 14, 1960. Bacardi were sort of exiled out of Cuba, but because they'd already been having some great success in creating distilleries in the likes of Puerto Rico and the likes of Mexico, they were easily able to sort of transfer everything across, especially the trademarks, for example, as well, and their sort of vision for rum, and move it across to these countries and still be able to carry on creating some fantastic rums. Now, I think that's a good brief history. I don't want to go into too much. There's a lot of in-depth stuff regarding Bacardi, and we've only got 15 minutes. So I'm going to crack open the first one. So I was been very kind enough to be gifted this. So thank you, Clint, from Revolution de Cuba, because he was surprised at me able to have it. So I'm going to open this for the very first time. Let's just double check what we got here. 40% ABV. Now, he sent me some notes because it was quite an interesting insight to how this has come about. Because like I say, this is apparently a culmination of 8 years of partnership between Revolution de Cuba and Bacardi itself. I know that Manchester and several of the other Revolution de Cuba bars have a Bacardi bar branded within their site. So it really hammers home that to have someone like Bacardi being as your go-to rum. It's featured within some fantastic cocktails, some great, obviously, salsa nights to the food influences as well. So this is the beautiful culmination of that. He also said that this rum is actually a blend. It's loosely based on the Quattro blend, which is a new 4-year that came out, I think maybe 2 years ago now. Probably 3 years. I forget we've had a year of COVID. But it's got some more sherry cask as part of the blend. Now, I have to admit, I do like a good sherry. More the PX, the Pedro Jimenez elements than the Amontillado, but I appreciate the flavour profiles either way. So this is 3 to 4 years old, tropically aged. He's given me some great serving ideas, so I'll say that at the end. So Clint himself actually had the pleasure of visiting the Bacardi HQ in Miami, obviously in the US. Went through their archives and had a tasting that was led by Sean Ware of Bacardi at the time. Still is. So like I say, this is the first time ever that Bacardi has apparently done a collaboration exclusive blend for an on-premise customer. So that's bars to restaurants to pubs and so on. And this is only a limited run of 6,000 bottles. So I kind of don't want to get rid of this one. I also didn't really want to open it either, but it's still available, which is good to hear. I'll give you the link a little bit later, but let's give this a go. So I have to admit, I'm getting a lot more more oak profile from the barrel staves themselves. A little bit more on the fruit side. And I want to say like dry fruits, talking prunes, raisins, that kind of thing. There's a little bit of marshmallow. Interesting. There's definitely some sherry. I'm not saying it's a rich sherry. It's a lot more dry, Amontillado sort of end of the scale. But it's quite an interesting nose. There is something else there. I can't quite put my finger on it. I'm hoping it might come through on the palate. So, like I say, 40% ABV. Let's give it a go. Got myself my little Glencairn glass again. Ooh. Okay. That's a lot more of a burst of flavour then on the palate straight away as well. I know it's early in the morning. It's only 10:26, but you get a real sherry, nice sort of wave of flavour. I'm going to have a second sip. I get a little bit of toffee crisp, fresh toffee crisp. I get honey, I get orange water. I do get the sherry notes. A little bit more of the richer profile, granted, so edging away from the dry sherry profile. You do get a kind of unmistakable Spanish style that I pick up when I drink things like rums from, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. Lacks any sort of pot elements, so I mean, if you're liking your Jamaican rums, this is not that sort of profile. It hasn't got that funkiness, but you can make, as we know, some fantastic things from column stills, coffee stills, whatever you like to name them. So we know that the stills can create some great liquids, and you do get rum, which is good. That's not a bad shout. It's easy to drink, despite the young age. It's 3 to 4 years old, so I mean, if you can't drink that, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be appreciating the flavours, but it's easier. It's Bacardi. I fully understand that a lot of people will never drink Bacardi on its own, but see it as it has to be mixed. And I get that, I really do. The marketing has hit that on the nail with the daiquiris, the mojito, your pina coladas, and so on and so forth. But that is good on its own. If you like your sherry, you're going to get that beautiful impact that the sherry is offered. It's a good shout. And what Clint said here, he said, he's had, where we are, profiles were selected to make a banging Cuba Libre and a top-notch daiquiri. So I feel like tonight I'm going to have to start making a couple of Cuba Libres and daiquiris. I've definitely got some fresh limes, picked some up yesterday, so let's give that a go. So check out my social media a little bit later this evening to see what I think about them. So That's a good start to my, what day is it today? Thursday. So let's give Bacardi 8 a go. Now, like I say, this is the old label, I have to admit. I haven't got through it as quick as I would normally do, but the liquid's still there. So it's a minimum of 8 years, this, not maximum. And is it still 40%? Yeah, 40% ABV. Let's grab yourself a fresh glass. Okay, good slug there. It's a Thursday, isn't it? Okay, so first thing I get right now, you get that, again, the oak. A little bit more wet oak compared to the drier profile of the Aventura. There's something there, it's like a bit of a Angostura bitter style profile. A little bit of a sort of orange cedarwood as well. Okay, let's give it a go. Smooth. Slight sort of Cuban Spanish rawness around the edges of your mouth. But you do pick up that slight vanilla style, sort of fresh vanilla pod. You get a little bit, to be fair, it's that bitter profile, Angostura bitter style. It's the first thing that came to my mind, in a good way as well. It's very easy to drink, very, very smooth. Not silky smooth, but it's a very easy to approach. A little bit dry on the profile in the end, but this would make a really good old fashioned. It will stand up against the actually Angostura bitters, ironically, and obviously whatever sugar you'd like to use. Good 50-60 ml, good slog of this in a glass over ice as well. It's not dull. It's not lively, but it's definitely not dull. You can definitely know you've got a rum in your mouth if you're going to drink some Bacardi 8. I'm liking that. It's good. It's been a while since I've had a bit of the Bacardi 8, to be fair. So it's been good to reacquaint myself. And to be honest with you, hammers home why I bought a bottle in the first place. All right, so I have to admit, obviously, I'm lacking anything else. I did have the Bacardi Carta Blanca last night, but I've got a list here. I've had the Bacardi Raspberry. That's actually a very good shout as well. Really good with tonic water, as essentially a summer spritz. We also all know about Bacardi Spiced. They got the Bacardi Oro, the Negra. Just have a look at what else they got here. Also, they get the Nejo Quattro, the 4-year, which is the essentially base inspiration behind the Aventura. Gran Reserva Diaz and the Gran Reserva Limitada I've had literally only in a tasting, so I haven't got a bottle here at home. But again, it was really good to give them a go. So you obviously, I'm sure you can find many places that sell Bacardi. If you're liking the sound of the 8, maybe head to the likes of Tipples in Manchester. They may have it on the shelves. If not, I'm sure they can source it for you. Pardon me. Obviously, the likes of Master Malt Whiskey Exchange have the full range of Bacardis available. From the Bacardi Aventura point of view, head to Revolucion de Cuba shop. If you just head to their website, their social media, you'll find a link from there. Pick a bottle up. To be honest with you, it is better than you probably expect. I'm not saying it was ever looking like it was going to be a bad liquid. What I'm saying is that even though it's a collaboration, not all collaborations are bad. This is a really good highlight to what Revolucion de Cuba is, Bacardi's culmination of, like I say, 7-8 year partnership. You've had a really good sort of tipping of the hat to what they've been able to produce and to offer us, obviously, when it comes to the Cuban lifestyle that Revolucion de Cuba like to offer. So it's a really good sort of finishing point. And to be honest with you, like I say, I'm going to give that a go in a daiquiri a little bit later. I feel that that's going to really work with that sherry influence as well. So a really good limited edition there with only 6,000 bottles. We'll call it 5,999 now. It's getting rarer by the bottle, guys. And of course, the 8-year, you know what that's all about. Give it a go if you've never had the experience. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave you guys to it. Until the next episode of Rum on the Couch, I'll see you soon.